everybody, welcome back to my Feed the Beast survival world. This is my little sorting room. It looks a bit different from the last time you were here though. There's a whole lot of stuff missing out of here. This is where I had my what was it called? Chiseled sandstone and chiseled stone brick creation. I've ripped all that out because I've got tons of the stuff now and really don't need any more. That's one of the changes that's happened. There's been a few changes though. So this is still the same. This is the where the quarry inputs. And what else has changed? Let's see. So we follow this around. I've got a factorization packager here. So this turns some blocks that you can combine into blocks. Some items that you can combine into blocks, like aluminium. You can make aluminium blocks, zirconium blocks, lapis lazuli blocks. I could put ingots in here as well and make ingot blocks. I don't have enough to really warrant it at this point, but if I start filling up on my chest, then I'll probably do that. This over here, which isn't active at the moment because I've still got to run some industrial craft cable, is a diamond factory. So it inputs flint, coal, obsidian, and allows compressed coal balls into the chest as well, because otherwise it will spit them out. And what it does is pulverizes the coal into coal dust, and coal dust and flint become coal balls, and I've got to get a few of these coal balls before I can set up the other one. But what's going to happen is the other one's going to be a whole lot of compressed coal balls and obsidian, and it will make coal chunks, and the coal balls will come in one of these. Which one? Hang on. So coal balls go in the red, so that compressor is going to turn coal balls into compressed coal balls, and this compressor is going to turn the coal chunks into diamonds, and then the diamonds and the compressed coal balls go back up into that chest there. So the compressed coal balls will be allowed to stay in the chest, so they can be used, but the diamonds will get spat out into the network, and they'll go around to the gems chest, which I believe is up there. There he is. So yeah, that's how that works. The other major change is this. I got rid of the pulverizer furnace setup, and I am still looking at putting in a factorization setup similar to the other video in my test world, but yeah, probably needed a bit more resources than what I had at the moment, so I've moved my quarry, which I'll show you in a bit, just to get some more stuff, which it's doing at the moment, and I've set up a different solution, a cheaper solution, but still better than what I had, I think. And this is an induction smelter, so it takes sand and ore and produces ingots straight up. You don't have to crush ore into dust and then smelt the dust. You get 2 ingots per ore with sand, and occasionally you get rich slag. Now if you use rich slag in place of sand, you can get 3 ingots, so you can still get your 300% return, similar to the factorization thing, as long as you've got rich slag. The problem is, to get that, you've got to spend some more to get double instead of triple, so you can't have constant 300%, so, but you're still getting more than if you were just using the dust and getting 200%. So that's pretty good. The trick is getting it to use slag occasionally. So what I've done is I've got a little setup here. This is a pulverizer to make sand out of cobble. The byproduct here is gravel, and we don't want to fill up on gravel, otherwise it will stop making sand. So I've got a void pipe here, so it automatically spits out the gravel and gets rid of it. The output for the pulverizer is in the back, So this is where the sand goes. It goes into this relay. The relay feeds the sand into this buffer, and you end up with a stockpile of sand. You might notice there's some in here that isn't going into the smelter, and the smelter's not full. It can take more sand. The reason it's not is because it would have made some rich slag. Now the rich slag is set to go out the side here. This is the byproduct, the yellow one. So it comes out the right hand side, which is this relay here, and that spits it into this pipe, this tube rather, and that tube's got two options. It can go up, but that only accepts normal slag, which is what you get when you've used rich slag. It spits the byproduct as normal slag. So basically this filter takes normal slag out of this tube and feeds it into the sorting network to be stored, and everything else, which will only be rich slag, comes down here through this restriction tube and into the buffer to be stored. Because it's a different side, it gets stored in a different one of these columns. I forget which one. I think it's this one here. And then the buffer will feed into the sorting machine. Now the sorting machine works in columns, so it will take turns. Basically, it's going to try sand. If it can fit sand, it'll take the sand and do that. Then it will try slag. If it can't fit the slag, it jams, and you can see the light on the side here. It's currently jammed. It's trying to get rich slag into the smelter. And yeah, you can see the this green square here is the back. So it's trying to push rich slag into the green. It can't at the moment because there's sand in there. As soon as the sand runs out, it will use the rich slag. So basically it forces it to be used occasionally. At the moment it's got lots of sand in there, so it'll take a while. But once that sand's used, it'll use the slag, and it means it doesn't get wasted. It won't just sit in here and constantly use sand. And yeah, so there you go, that's being used there. So we're only getting 2 at the moment. But it is using the sand up, which means eventually we'll get to use that rich slag, which is good. There is a lot of sand in there, but only because I had this pulverizer making a whole lot. It made a stack or more of cobble, because what happens is when this pipe wire here is off, which is this guy here, he does that. So basically, if the buffer empties, whenever the buffer empties, it turns on the pipe wire, and that means that this redstone signal turns off, and then that activates this little red wire thing here, which feeds the jacketed wire a signal, which feeds the redstone tube a signal, which sends a signal to the retriever, which then pulls 1 cobblestone. That 1 cobblestone goes into the pulverizer. Pulverizer turns the cobblestone into sand. Sand is fed along here. Buffer takes the sand, has an inventory, and this turns off again. So it cycles along. The problem was, when I was testing it, is I had the retriever set to, instead of pulling 1 cobblestone, to pulling a stack of cobblestone. So it had a whole lot in there to begin with, so I've got to run through this. I could just take it out, but it doesn't matter really. I'm getting a whole lot of stuff, so, and I was going to need sand anyway, so it doesn't really matter. At the moment, you'll probably notice I'm using a stockpile of cobblestone from this. Eventually I can just have it take cobblestone out of the network, but stupidly, for some reason, I decided not to waste cobblestone and just stored every bit of cobblestone from the first quarry running. I don't know why I did that, but I have lots and lots of cobblestone, so I'm using it all up slowly. eventually I can empty these barrels and I'll get rid of the barrels and take them upstairs. So yeah, that's that. The other couple of things that are going on here is down here. There's a manager down there that takes coal out of the system. It's on a lower priority, I think, than the coal. Oh, there you go. You can see. Did you see that? That was a block of zirconium going up this pipe here. Anyway, yeah. So it takes a bit of coal out of the network when there's too much stock upstairs, basically. So yeah. So it makes coal coke and creosote oil. So I'll show you that in a bit. And the other thing that's going on is over here is a blast furnace, and that doesn't automatically take iron. I specifically set it up not to automatically take iron, and I haven't set up the automatic fuel yet. I'm going to have a managed fuel thing, so it's fed the coal coke that comes from over here, but I'll show you what it does do. Just run upstairs here. Yes, I know, I still haven't put in my levitator. I've been busy, alright? So over here, this is my ingots chest. Behind there I've got a retriever, set for 64 iron ingots. And there's a button, steel request. So the idea is I probably don't want to be constantly making steel. I don't want to have no iron at some point, so I set up a system so you can request steel, and that's taken out of here and sent down to the blast furnace via this tube. It goes down the side of the building and in the side there. And over here I have a little indicator light, steel production, so when the blast furnace is running, that light turns on thanks to that wire there, which is part of this bundle wire, and I'll show you how that happens. This gate down the bottom, hopefully there's no one about to attack me. This gate down the bottom here checks to make sure that there are items in the blast furnace, and if there are, then it turns on the light. And at the moment there isn't. So I think there is. No, there isn't. So maybe we can try this out. Apparently I haven't tested this, so with any luck it'll actually work. So we steel request, pulls out a stack of iron. Apparently that's going down the tube. Yes, it is, which is good. And if we go down here, we should see that go in the top of the blast furnace, and there it is. Now it won't actually work yet because I haven't got fuel going in there, but the idea is I can set up a manager or something to automatically pull coal coke out of the fuels chest, which is conveniently right here next to it. So I could set up another retriever to tick as soon as that light goes on, so that pulse from that light should pull a stack of coal coke, or even just one coal coke or something. Or I can have it auto pulse when it's empty or something like that. Yeah, there's a few different ways I could do that. And this is my overflow, so at the moment it's filling up with all sorts of rubbish, but as I can condense it down a bit and move things into the right places and get rid of some of the dirt into the back into the system, so that I can get more UU matter, which I'm actually building a decent stock of at the moment. It should be a bit neater, and I may even move some of the stuff that I don't use a lot of in here, like brass and Invar and things, over into here. So yeah, and that's fairly neat too, I think, in the wall. And eventually I'll make this whole wall barrels, I think. I'll get rid of these torches, they're a bit messy. So yeah. And the other thing I might show you, I don't know if we can see it from over here, but is yeah, you kind of can. That's the new quarry. It sits on the side of the old quarry frame. It's over there. I'll cut camera and we'll go for a walk over there. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so this is where the quarry used to be. It used to sit right about there, and this is the old frame. You can see these engines are still running. The reason is I couldn't be bothered pulling all of this apart, moving all these engines and the tank and the liquid tesseract and all that stuff over there. That's where the quarry sits now. So I left it all here. And you might be wondering why I would do that. Well, because it was a bit of a pain to set up, so I thought it might be easier just to keep this energy cell here and run all the energy through this energy tesseract. So just like the liquid tesseract, the energy tesseract does the same sort of thing. Sends power from here to over there, and yeah, saves me moving all this whole setup, because that would be a pain. Quite frankly, I don't really want to have to do that. That would be annoying. So if we go over, you can see I've got lava power on the frequency there. It's set to send only, so any power made from these engines, from the lava that I'm getting from the nether, goes through here, and I'll just have a bit of a swim over here. You can see why I'm quarrying this area, because there's not much here. It's just marshland. There's a lot of squid, and that's about it. Okay, so this is the other energy tesseract. Set for lava power, receive only, and yeah, feeds the quarry. Same ender chest, and you would have noticed probably the other ender chest is actually still over there. That's because of the inventory protection system I set up with the, in case it fills up. If it fills up, those engines still need to turn off. So I still need that gate sitting there, and instead of setting up a similar thing over here on this chest, I decided to just leave it there, since that's where the power is. You want to stop the power, so you put the protection where the engines are, rather than over here. Yeah, and you can have as many of those ender chests as you want, really. There's now 3 of them on the same colour scheme, so they all open up together. And I've actually got, it's not on me, I've actually got an ender pouch as well, set up on the same green, so if I go out mining by myself, I can actually throw things into the same thing. It will come out in the same sorting network, which is really good. It's kind of handy. It means you can go digging and you don't have to have a full inventory and running back to base every 5 minutes. So I'm going to go back to base and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I forgot a couple of things. So I told you about that void pipe there. I've actually got another one over here, because I learned my lesson from the first quarry, and that is you do not need lots and lots of cobblestone for anything. There is nothing that uses that much. So I've got a filter here just for cobblestone. So if it can't go anywhere else, like say this basic blocks chest, which does accept cobblestone, if it has enough, if it has all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks that it requests, then there's no more use for cobblestone in this network. So it dumps it through this filter into this chest, and that via this autarkic gate and wooden pipe feeds it straight into this void pipe. So that destroys any excess cobblestone. There is no flooding of this network with cobblestone anymore. And the other thing that happens up here, you'll notice that restricting tube. That is a replacement for the chest that used to be here. It used to be a restricting tube in a chest. Rather than have that, I built the barrels upstairs that I just showed you before. They're fed via that router. So basically, there's a box in there which feeds into the top sides of any inventory attached to it, which are these barrels. And the input for a barrel is the top side, so any items that go into that restriction tube and into the router will feed into that. See if I can see the router. I can't really see it, can I? Just break the window. There is a router. Oh, I know where I can see it. Downstairs. This place is getting big. I forget my way around sometimes. So there's a router in. Let me in. Where is he? There he is. What blocks have I got? Yeah, alright, use that. So over here, there he is. He looks kind of cool. He actually looks a bit like an actual computer router. So they go in there, you can see them magically disappear when they go in there. And they get inserted into the top side of anything in there. This thing here shows us what upgrades I've got. I've only got the thoroughness upgrade, which finishes inserting into one before starting another. It's alright. There's probably better ones, but yeah. I mean, even with that, it's still you get stuff everywhere. As you can see, I've got dirt in about half a dozen different ones, but yeah, it happens. And once they've all got something in it, it won't really matter. They'll go in only the one. Like if there was only one barrel with dirt and the rest of them were full, it would all go in the one. So it's just because I've got multiple. And what I'm going to do, I think, is grab some marble out of here. And I'll just make a few more bricks. We'll go fix that window. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. It's worked pretty well. So all I've really got to do now is the fuel thing for the blast furnace. I've got to finish my chicken coop. I did end up finding chickens. And I've got a little chicken coop area over here that I'm going to do. I've got a couple of stacks of eggs to hatch chickens with, so that'll be good. And my new replacement to-do board thing is no longer find chickens, it's now auto chicken and egg farm. So yeah, that'll be the next challenge. That should be fun. So yeah, I'll see you next time for that. Bye.